Why don't you all introduce yourselves first, since most of you I don't know.
Molinaro from the Virginia Pilot. They often say football coaches at the pro ranks, especially, say he's a CEO. You know, we throw that out. So you're an actual CEO or former CEO. How will you run your staff? Do you have a football philosophy, or will you hire coordinators and play with their philosophy?
Why don't we talk about, why don't we talk about both of those separately? Okay, first, as far as, I do think the head football coach of any major college, the head football coach in the UFL, the NFL, I think they are CEOs of their program, the organization. I think most head football coaches in the NFL or in college would say that. So I said a little bit earlier that I think I was a much better business guy because of the experience I had as a coach. I think I'll be a much better coach because of my experience as a business guy. In both worlds, you've got to be able to handle yourself under pressure. You've got to be able to understand what competition is. You've got to be able to have a strategic plan. You've got to have a game plan. You've got to know what your competition is. You've got to know the market that you're involved with. You've got to be able to bring people together to help them achieve beyond what they thought they were capable of. You have to be able to unite them and excite them. You have to be able to figure out a way to be able to mold them into a team that they may not have been able to mold it into before. I go back to the idea is you're always making decisions. You're always developing plans, thoughts, not just based on what might be able to do, but based on the people that you have and the people that you've got to be able to compete against. In the business world, I said we exist for the benefit of our shareholders, our clients, and employees. I think in the world of professional football, you exist for the benefit of your players and the community in effect that you represent. You represent the league, but the franchise that you really have responsibility for is that particular community. So how do you balance? It's in the best interest of that community, the league, and certainly what you're trying to do as far as your players go. The people that do a great job of those things are usually very, very good leaders, and they're usually very productive and successful and effective in terms of whatever course of life they have. If I said that to a head football coach as a business guy, he'd say that's exactly what we're trying to do. If a head football coach was telling my senior management team that in the business world, our management team would say that's exactly what we're trying to do. So in terms of what you really need to be able to do to get the job done is actually similar in the business world versus the world of football. Now, the difference is there's a different product. But frankly, I want to kind of back up a little bit. Any product area I have ever been in the business world, I didn't know much about. When I was in that MBA training program against the best MBAs in the country, I didn't know how to spell the word bond. I didn't know how to spell the word stock. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know that. Then all of a sudden later on, I wound up running institutional sales globally for the firm. I ultimately was the one that wrote our business plan for institutional sales in Japan and Europe. I had never been out of the country. When I was asked to run the municipal division, I didn't know anything about municipals. When they brought me over to private client, I didn't know anything about the retail side of the business. When they offered me the Ameritrade job, I said, this is really a technology firm in the online brokerage world with a financial service wrapper. You understand I don't know anything about technology. You know, we understand that. The one product area in my life that I absolutely know something about is football. It's the area that I'm probably, from a product perspective, the most proficient in. But that's not where my strength lies. My strength lies, I think, in my ability to be able to put together a program. So can I attract the right staff? Can I attract the right people? And will I delegate them, and will I allow them to do what they feel they need to do? I will do that. In fact, one of the things I'd like to be able to announce today, I mentioned that the defensive coordinator, when Miami won the national championship, under Howard Schnellenberger was Tom Olivadotti. He was also Don Shula's defensive coordinator for 9 years in the NFL, and he was also one of the more respected defensive minds in the NFL. He will be the Virginia Destroyers' defensive coordinator. You're not going to get much better than that guy, and other people that know him would certainly say that. So my job is to be able to get the very, very best coaches that I can get, that are not just good X and O guys on the blackboard, because that doesn't translate to what you do on the field. They need to be great teachers. They need to be good teammates in terms of be able to get along well with the rest of the guys on the staff, because the intimacy of the environment and the climate within which you work. And then I'm going to allow them to coach. Tom's going to have his defensive philosophy, but he and I know what that is already. I don't quite know what the offensive coordinator's philosophy is going to have, but I know what mine is, and I'd be looking for somebody, in effect, that's going to be able to kind of match up with that. Then you allow those guys to coach, and you allow them to coach their people. I think what I bring to the table, I know enough football that I'm going to know what they're doing, and I think I'd be a great coach to my coaches. I think I'd be a great advisor to my coaches. I think I'd be a great mentor to my coaches. But at the end of the day, you've got to be able to get that done with your players. And I think that's something that, frankly, I can do. But I'm going to be looking for coaches that can do that as well. So to kind of get back to what you said, Bob, all those things, in effect, have to be able to come together. The only real difference is the product's different. But this happens to be, coincidentally, the product I know the most about.
The United Football League. If you like great football, you'll love the UFL.